Hi, I'm Aaron Losi. I am the host of Lone Star Drift, a drift organization, like grassroots motorsport thing out of Texas. This video is not just to all YouTubers and everything else. This is more a message to the drivers in my series and the fans. So what we're doing is for round 5 of the Lone Star Drift series, I wanted to do something wacky and different. So we are having an event with a different type of track layout and a different rule set. And this video is specifically to communicate to them about these things before the event. So at the event, at the drivers meeting, I'm not having to re-explain myself to 50 different people what the heck we're doing. So that's what this is. Oh, stupid dog. Quiet line. So what are we doing? First of all, I keep trying to make little changes at the events, try to make things more fun, make them different. This year we implemented a new bracketing system for our qualifying and just basically eliminating qualifying completely, and that turned out fantastic. And this isn't going to be that, I guess, different. I mean, it's going to be different, but it's not going to be something we implement for every event. This is going to be a one-off type thing, which is just some fun, wacky event thing that I'm doing. So for this round, we are taking the track and making it tiny. We're pushing it as small as I could possibly push it, making it as tight and technical and difficult to get through as possible, meaning that the drivers are going to have very small areas to get the cars through, and the track is going to change dynamically by who is driving it, and it will get more difficult by the better drivers driving, if that makes sense. So how are we going to accomplish this? Well, first of all, it's going to be a track that basically is a box and has obstacles in it. And the drivers can take any route they want through this box. Okay, that sounds kind of weird and everything, but bear with me. We've kind of seen something like this through drift shifters.
So I know what I'm going to change.
The Swede Samuel Hübinette threw his big
through that Red Bull event, but it really didn't have as many obstacles throughout the track and make as many things as you could happen. It was mainly based around the idea of getting close to the walls and setting off proximity sensors. We're poor, we can't afford proximity sensors, and I think that event was kind of a little bit boring because they were just getting close to the barriers, and at no point did they ever have tandem. And drifting to me is all about tandem. Drifting is purely tandem, and I want awesome tandem. So we're gonna tandem on this itty bitty tiny track. The track, like I said, is a big box and it has obstacles in it. And you are going to pick your path throughout the track. You can either pick something very safe and easy and take it easy on your car and yourself and the driver behind you and basically not push yourselves and keep your car in one piece and everything else. And because the thing is so slow, I'm really not worried about cars getting demolished. And we're using much lighter barriers on the interior of the thing. But basically, you are going to be able to choose a track that is incredibly difficult and really hard to follow on if you are an advanced driver. And then it's going to be incredibly difficult for the other guys to follow you. So we know how the track is going to be different. How is the judging going to be different? Specific rule difference is the biggest thing that we need to talk about is the lead driver has to activate the run by putting down a good solid lead lap. And if the front driver does not activate the run, there is no judging for the run and he zeroes out. Now, the reason we're doing that is because as a following driver, there's no way for you to be able to put down a good lap and entertain the crowd and, be great if the person in front of you doesn't get around the track smoothly and doesn't give you a chance to do that. So it's very important that the lead driver has a good, clean, nice lap for the back guy to follow in tandem competition, okay? And remember, we don't have any qualifying at our events. So it's important that you have a clean lap that is both judgeable and that somebody else can follow. Okay. Now, once the lap is activated and that driver does not zero out, that means the judges can obviously take everything into consideration they've seen and come up with a more typical, I guess you could say, judging scenario. So that's once the lap is activated, it's going to be pretty normal and it's going to be pretty similar to what you're used to. So that shouldn't be too difficult to understand. All right, let's look at the actual track and figure out what we're actually doing now. All right, so here is the track. You can see here's grid, where grid is 100 feet back, and we start there. It is a box. It's pretty obvious. All right, it is 330 feet on this side of the box. It is 200 feet on this side of the box. Here's the entrance. Here's the water tower that way at the beginning of Mineral Wells. Here is the exit. Here is a row of barriers. Here is a row of barriers. Here's a gate you can get through. Here is a row of barriers. Here is a row of barriers. Here's barriers, 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 barriers. Crowd. Mustang going to kill them. All right. Now, each of these little blocks is 10 feet. So every block is 10 feet to give you a reference. So as we back up, you can start seeing certain places like this gate is very tight. That's only 20 feet. Just enough room to get a car through. And, let's move a pin. These are 20 by 30 feet. This wall is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, about 70 feet long. These walls are, that one's 40, that one's about 50, that one's 50, I think that one's 60 as you look at that. So you can start getting a reference for the size of everything. Now, the cars will launch from about 100 feet back. They'll come in here. I tested this in my truck, the run-up, and right about here where I'd enter, I was at about 55 in a diesel truck, meaning I think that our drift cars are going to be right around here at 60 miles an hour. Now, you can choose any way you want to go through this course. The higher speed entries will be coming down this way, and then if you're really ballsy, you could head this way. You could enter right here, head through here, and then figure out what you're doing. And depending on how you get through this area, if you did a lot of left foot braking, came over to this barrier and dipped back in, and then went over here, through there, however you want, that would be crazy difficult for someone to follow. If you wanted to be super safe, this outside line is not going to be barriers, so it's easy to bail out. It will come down. You could throw your car in for entry. You could come in here super safe and either come wide through there and do something like that, back through, or you could come through here. The fastest entry would be coming through here, and then you would narrow through and have to get through this chute that's 30 feet wide, roughly twice the length of a 240SX. So it gives you just enough room to get through smoothly, connect through, and then go wherever you want. Now, in the beginning of the competition, I think people will go very easy. They might come through here, they might come around, they might do some of these things like that, and then just exit and be done. And by the time we get to the ending, someone could come through, they could throw the car through, come through here, come through, get through this section, come back through, go back through there somehow, however they want to try and get through, and finish off like that. There's a lot of crazy configurations where it'd be very difficult to follow someone, especially if you're going through here and then doing something. You could absolutely transition right here and head straight back through there, and that would be literally impossible to follow unless you're really good through that way, and then back through like that. And if you were to get through this section going through this direction, it would be crazy hard to get through here because your car is coming through this direction. If you came through the gate, your car is narrower because it's just a little bit wider than the width of the car. But if you come through this direction through that gate, your car is the full length of your car. So your car goes from being 8 to 10 feet wide coming through this way and doing your thing, and it goes to being 15 feet long for, I think like 14 and a half feet long for a 240SX coming this way. So that would give you exactly 2 feet in front of your car and 2 feet in back of your car, maybe 2.5 feet in the back of your car, to make it through there. And that means if you're tandeming through there, you cannot shallow up as the following driver whatsoever through there. It will not work. You would have to go through at the exact same point they do and have to do it really well. And we will have markers on the top right there and right there so that when someone goes through, they can see a reference that is tall. let's do an example of a difficult run. So a difficult lap would come through here. You'd already be second gear coming over this starting line area. You would come through here. You would attack this teeny tiny gate through here. You would then continue through, having to slow down the car drastically to transition here. Come through here, and then you could continue right past the crowd right here. And let's see here, how can we make this the most difficult lap possible so it would be super hard for someone to follow? I would come through here. I would come back, and I could make a choice if I wanted to go through here and lead them up there and out, or if I wanted to lead it back through that gate. And let's say I want to make it really tough. I'm going to actually do this. It would make me transition around this point and then continue that way. So I'd be going through the gate once that way and then once really difficult back through the other way. Now each lap can take no more than about 40 seconds long, and when you're done with a lap you can just point your car and exit the track. So if you're finished right here, you can come out of drift smoothly and just exit the track and you should be fine. If we have to modify the rules slightly and say, I was going to say you'd have to make 3 full transitions in the track. So this would be a transition right in here, and then here, and then in here again. But we don't want to limit people to just 3, but we don't want them going over, say, about 45 seconds. 40 seconds probably max. But this would be a super difficult lap to follow. And then say I wanted another super difficult lap to follow. I could have either changed the trajectory. Let's go back with my pink pen. We could have, as we were finishing this lap, we could have extended out here and gone around this barrier. So we have choices even on this lap. Could have gone through there, could have gone through there. Another cool lap would be to come through here. Throw the car up against this wall, and then get out just around this barrier, and then come this way, make our decision on where we want to go. We could say we're a power car. We take it all the way to the outside here, and then we tuck it right back in here, and then we could go up against this wall and back around. We could come through here and come back through this gate if we wanted to, and then super tightly turn back. I don't know. We're going to see what each driver comes up with, but there are a ton of configurations here on however we want to do this track. So I am super excited.
Mm-hmm.